Welcome back to Dice Paper Miniatures. In the Adepticon live shows hits, just keep on coming. So in this preview, we get a look at the Warhammer Underworlds, Harrowdeep, the Exiled Dead warband. So the Exiled Dead is led by this new creepy looking vampire dude that's kind of got the face of Keanu Reeves from The Matrix when he was being interrogated by Agent Smith, which is kind of interesting for a vampire to have a sealed mouth. But in any event, the vampire is Deintalos the Exiled, or Deintalos the Exiled. It's got some interesting spelling, but there you go. A necromancer whose grisly experiments went too far for even those in the Shyish. Can you imagine experimenting so much with necromancy that even Nagash asks you to knock it off? In Harrowdeep, far from prying eyes, he continues his work, assisted by his mortal apprentice, Markov. So I'm not sure yet who Markov is, but here we have Deintalos. All right. And here is Coil. This is the one we got a preview. He's one in the background with the large Frankenstein-looking arm. I'm not sure how I feel about the aesthetic of these models. On paper, I like the idea of kind of the Tesla zombie motif. And I know the coils or the cables probably need to be as large as they are, mostly for reproduction purposes, but they're seriously big coils. I think there's a lot of potential, or you just leave it as is. I actually like the squatting guy. I like that pose a lot, even though it doesn't have as much of the Tesla aesthetic. I do like it. I think the sculpts of the zombies themselves are really well done, of course. It's just the cable coil portions might be just a little, again, just a little too thick. And I'm not quite sure if where the Tesla components, where they're pushed into the bodies of these zombies, if it feels a little off. I don't like saying that, but it feels a little off. Otherwise, overall, I generally like the look of these. A vampire with his mouth sealed is very interesting. It makes me wonder how he survives. Maybe just feeds off of magic, right? So you don't need a mouth for that, apparently. I think the artwork is stronger in this case, as far as how the coils don't feel really big. The Tesla components feel like they kind of fit into the models a little better. It's just maybe a little too eclectic. The zombie knight, if you will, the zombie guard, kind of feels like it works with the new skeletons, right? That we have for Age of Sigmar, but at the same time, not so much. So I do think the designers might struggle a little bit with dialing in the aesthetic for the undead. I felt that way a little bit with the Soulblight Gravelords. The Crimson Court nailed it, but for some reason, after the Crimson Court, they went into this werewolf or wolf aesthetic, which was fine. But then when the skeletons came out, their aesthetic was really different than the more traditional, kind of more Halloween-y looking skeletons with the bat motifs and the traditional skeleton armor motifs. It deviated from that aesthetic. It deviated from what we even see in like the skeletons for Blood Bowl. Those kind of matched, but when we got into the new skeletons, they really deviated into more of this like Eastern European kind of like Slavic, like historical vibe of attire. So, which I think does kind of fit with what they were doing with Radikar, of course. But outside of Radikar and his group within the Cursed City, the aesthetics kind of flip-flopped a little bit. And these zombies kind of look like, well, they took out the roots that we got in the new zombie kit, which were cool, and they just put in like the Tesla bits. So I don't know why that's the case, because stylistically in their other armies, I feel like the aesthetic is more consistent. The aesthetic on undead in general Not the OC Arc Bone Reapers. They have a consistent aesthetic, and definitely not the Night Haunts. The Night Haunts have a consistent aesthetic, but for some reason, Soulblight still kind of struggling to get its like a consistent identity. That's just my thoughts. It is what it is. So on paper, I really like the idea of them taking kind of that Frankenstein vibe into Soulblight. I'm just not sure of the execution. But obviously the production value of these miniatures are amazing. But here we have a preview of the cards. And this Dance of Deintalos. Interesting gambit spell. If cast, pick or move attack. Each friendly inspire conductive fighter can make an action of the kind you picked. Players cannot use reactions while this spell is being resolved. Pretty solid card. And again, the artwork on this card, these look great. They just didn't quite translate into the models. I think a little bit of green stuff work, and maybe they'll be dialed in. They call them Arc Walkers, not Dead Walkers. So all the Arc Walkers and Deintalos himself are conductive fighters. So Arc Walkers are conductive fighters, making this spell a great way of overrunning the board. Alternatively, you could use it to gang up on a powerful fighter, such as a fellow dead man, Mir Kainan, and bring him down in a swarm of grasping hands. Much like the Arc Walkers, everyone in Adepticon has been animated by the Force dynamic. All right, so they're just plugging into the new preview for Adepticon, which is cool. So that's it for now for this new Warhammer Underworlds Harrowdeep, the Exiled Dead warband. I'd love to get your thoughts on it. Are you feeling this is really dialed in from an aesthetic, or do you feel like maybe there was a few missed opportunities on this one? Again, I think every opinion's valid. Would love to hear what you have to say about it. And if you haven't yet and you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell. It really helps with the growth of this channel, and it's greatly appreciated. And with that said, thank you so much for checking out this video. I hope everyone's doing well. Be safe, take care, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye-bye.